Educational Information and Communication Technology presents Educational Satellite Television Programs.
Hello, teacher. Hello, students. Welcome to today's biology lesson. This is the first lesson of the new unit on microorganisms and disease. And we will begin by talking about microorganisms. We will define what a microorganism is, and we will discuss the history of its discovery. Are you ready? Let us get started. A microorganism is a microscopic living organism. They cannot be seen with the unaided eye. One must use the aid of a microscope to be able to observe them. Microorganisms make up the majority of all the living things on Earth. They can be unicellular, which means organisms that consist of only one cell, or they can live in colonies. Microorganisms play a very important role in our lives. They act as decomposers in various ecosystems. They help keep the soil fertile and recycle once living matter into nutrients for plant life. Microorganisms help produce certain foods such as injera and ergot, and alcohol such as wine, beer, and edge. When making alcohol, yeast consumes the sugar inside grains, leaving alcohol behind. This is called fermentation. Because they break foods down so effectively, microorganisms are also the primary cause of food spoiling. Students, for our first activity, please take out a sheet of notebook paper and write down as many different places where you think that microorganisms can be found. Please, begin now.
Students, let's get ready. Begin. Time's up. Let's get back to our lesson.
Welcome back, students. Were you able to think of a lot of places where microorganisms could live? You may have thought of different sorts of plant life, animals, food, and all sorts of other places. All of your answers are right. Microorganisms are essential to life on Earth and can be found nearly everywhere and on everything. There are many diverse types of microorganisms, but they all can be categorized into 5 main groups: bacteria, some fungi, viruses, some algae, and protozoa. Microorganisms are everywhere. They live on and in plants and animals. Some microorganisms are harmful and can cause disease, while others are necessary for living things to survive. Can you remember the names of the types of microorganisms I just listed? Teacher, why don't we have the students take a moment to write down the 5 different categories of microorganisms? I believe they are important for the students to remember.
Students, let's get ready. Begin. Time's up. Let's get back to our lesson.
Welcome back, students. How did you do? If you wrote down bacteria, some fungi, viruses, some algae, and protozoa, then you got them all correct. Well done. Now, let us discuss how these tiny organisms were first found. The discovery of microorganisms has been one of the most important contributions to the field of biology. In 1675, Anton van Leeuwenhoek was the first person to observe the existence of microorganisms using a simple microscope that he invented himself. It had always been a mystery to him why certain foods, such as milk, yogurt, or bread, would spoil. But until van Leeuwenhoek's discovery, the connection to microorganisms and changes in the food were not clear. Once van Leeuwenhoek was able to establish that there were forms of life that were not visible to the naked eye, he was able to begin to understand the spoilage process. With additional research from biologists Lazzaro Spallanzani and Louis Pasteur, it was discovered that life did not just appear on living and non-living substances when they spoiled, but instead there were forms of life that were decomposing the food. Spallanzani also discovered that by boiling water, he could sterilize it and kill any microorganisms that might contaminate the liquid. This was an important fact. Microorganisms came from outside sources rather than appearing in the water. Another interesting discovery was made by biologist Robert Koch in 1876, when he noted that microorganisms could also cause disease. Koch took a sample of blood from an infected animal and injected it into a healthy animal, which made the healthy animal sick. He also discovered that he could grow the microorganism called bacteria in a separate container and then inject it into a healthy animal and make it ill. I think that is enough today, students. In this lesson, you have learned about what a microorganism is and how it was discovered. With new technologies, such as more powerful microscopes, we are learning more and more about microorganisms and how they are important to our understanding of life and the world around us. We will talk more about microorganisms next time we are together. Until then, thank you, teacher. Thank you, students.